Premiere Pro tutorial number 2 coming at you right now with my crazy fake persona. No. So we'll get right back into it. You've set up your folders on your computer, and now we've launched Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 for the first time. We've set up all of our settings for the project, and here we are. We notice that we have some information here on the screen. Premiere Pro shows up at the top when we are selecting it. We see at the top that it is saved in Volumes Maxwell AI Project Still Story Maxwell.prproj. That prproj extension, which is quite a mouthful, means Premiere Pro Project or Premiere Project. I suppose you could concatenate it down to that. But that's the project file that contains all the information about what you do within this program. So we can tell where our file is. We also see that our project here is named Still Story Maxwell, and the sequence that we created, Still Story 01, is right there. Now, let's take a quick tour of the interface. I'm not going to go into extreme detail with this because you can look all this up in many other places, but I just want to give you a very fast idea about what is what. One of the things that you want to take advantage of is looking at the window menu will allow you to turn on and off a lot of these panels. So you can actually have entire workspaces which are presets for the whole layout. This is set to editing. You can also change it to the audio layout, which changes the entire screen layout for working on audio. You can change it to effects, which is designed to help you while you're working on the effects workflow. But for default, you want to use the editing interface. So if you come in and load the project up and somebody has set it to something else, you want to change it back to the editing workspace, and that will give you a preset where everything looks right and normal. So if yours doesn't look like that, go ahead and do that now so that we're on the same page, so to speak. Alrighty. So now that we're on the same page collectively, go over these different panels. The primary interface for your project is down here, which is the project panel. If we go to the window and look at the ones that are checked, it'll tell us which ones are on, and we can toggle this on and off. Project is this one down here. It won't let us close that for whatever reason. Fantastic. But anyway, this is called the project. You can see that it has the name of the project, and then there are other tabs in here that will allow you to look at different features of your project. But let's look at the one called Project. This is the home for all of the contents that you're going to be working with. So if you have still images or video clips or graphics or audio files or anything that needs to be contained within this project, you're going to have to bring them into the project window here. Also, things that are generated within Premiere, like sequence files, which let you arrange all those elements in time, those will be here, as well as titles and other graphics that you will be creating. So this is the home base. Right now we don't have anything in here. We have just the sequence that we created as our default, and there's nothing in this sequence, so that's fine. We will be populating this in the next video. At the top we have two windows, which are the source and program monitors. So I say monitors because it sounds way cooler than saying monitors. Like to over enunciate because it's awesome. But the idea here is that this side will preview the imagery that you're working on, that you're thinking about putting into your edit, or that you're making changes to. This right-hand screen shows you what's actually in your current sequence. And your current sequence is shown in two different ways. This down here is called your timeline. Well, so if you look at here, it says timelines, Still Story 01. You can have multiple of these open, which is why it has a little pop-out, fly-out wing there. But this is called the timeline, and this is called the program monitor. Now these are intrinsically linked to a particular sequence. We have sequence Still Story 01 open in the timeline. Notice the program is also showing Still Story 01. These are just two different views of the same information. The timeline shows you all of the clips in sequence throughout the entire edit that you're doing, and your program monitor shows you the current frame as it will look when it is played back. So this is showing you a snapshot of that particular frame, and this is showing you basically an overhead view of everything before, during, and after the current frame that you're on. And the current frame that you're on is determined by the timeline, the time marker, which you can move by clicking throughout this ruler here. And you can also play, pause, and rewind just like you can in, VCRs? No, not VCRs. DVD players. I got to keep hip with the current technology. But you can when you have footage in here, you'll be able to control it, playing, pausing, rewinding, stopping, etc. But you can also drag your time marker around here to move to things very quickly. We'll get more into that. But just know that these two are inextricably linked. So the last thing that you want to look at before we move on is this tool palette. It shows up here under Window called Tools. And it's a very narrow strip that has all the different types of tools that you're going to use to interact with the timeline. These tools are set next to the timeline because they're intended to interact with the clips that you will work with inside of here. I'll show you how all that works in a moment, in another video perhaps, but I want to let you know what these are and how to get to them. The pointer is the selector tool that lets you just drag and drop things around. You have the track select tool that will allow you to select all of the clips on any particular track. And then you have edit and trimming tools that will allow you to take the edges of clips and move them back and forward in time to make them shorter or longer. Some of those will push the rest of the video out, some of them won't. We'll go over all those details. You have a cut tool, which will allow you to make cuts into longer video files to shorten them into 2 separate videos. This is the slip tool and the slide tool, which allow you to change the contents of a video clip. And then you have some other tools like the hand tool, which lets you drag around the view without changing any of the clips inside of it. You're just moving and panning the interface, and your zoom tool, which allows you to zoom in and out of the interface as well. So those are all there, and these are all used to work with the timeline. So remember, you've got your projects here, which is it has all of the contents of your project: video clips, still images, audio, etc. You've got your preview monitor, which when you're selecting footage, you will be looking at up here and choosing which portions of a shot that you want to use. You'll also use this when you're working on effects. If you're changing parameters, that will be in here. And then you have your program and your timeline views, which are both looking at a sequence, 2 different views. The program monitor shows you the current frame of what you're looking at, and you can play back and watch the whole thing. And the timeline shows you the overhead view of all the clips that are in your sequence in order. And this is where the meat of editing is done, is taking clips and rearranging them and doing different effects on them within the timeline. So that's the basic Premiere interface, and we will move on to actually importing our still images and doing a rough edit in the next video.